In today's video, I wanted to begin my journey through the main story featured in The Witcher 2: Assassin of Kings. Having played through the first Witcher for this channel, I was completely hooked on its characters, universe, plot development, and gameplay. Other than a brief stint with The Witcher 3 and the first two seasons of the TV show, which a lot of you have told me to completely disregard, don't worry, it's already forgotten, I knew barely anything about the franchise. Sure, I was sort of familiar with the basics like Geralt, Triss, Vesemir, Kaer Morhen, and the Guild of Witchers, but really not much else beyond those. However, completing the first Witcher game, I was able to learn about subjects like the Kingdom of Temeria, the Scoia'tael, the Order of the Flaming Rose, Salamandra, the Witcher mutagens, the Norse politics, the world's bestiary, the list goes on and on. The Witcher's universe is extremely vast and chock full of interesting characters, plot points, and thought-provoking dilemmas. I'm super thrilled to be making a return to the franchise. I know a lot of you have been asking for it as well, and I'm excited to embark on this adventure all together. For those who are newer to these videos, I'm going to play through the main questline, listen to the dialogue, and discuss my thoughts and experiences as I go along. I'll help to push the narrative in any way I can. So, without further ado, let's dive into the story of The Witcher 2: Assassin of Kings. Booting up the game, the first thing presented is a cutscene. Similar to the first Witcher's opening cinematic, there's not a lot of context for what's shown. However, as the story goes on, this display becomes relevant to the plot and adventure. Furthermore, given how the first game ended and what the title of the second installment is, this cutscene ends up becoming fairly self-explanatory. Also, a disclaimer, this scene is quite gory, so if that's not your thing, you might want to fast forward or look away. It starts off by depicting a king and his fleet sailing by the shoreline. As the king is distracted by the various entertainers, a stranger sneaks aboard the ship. While undetected, this stranger readies some sort of magical/alchemical contraption and lobs it at the crew. The king's sorcerer is able to detect it in time and puts up a magical barrier at the last minute. While he manages to save the king and a handful of guards, the rest of the crew and the ship itself get completely overtaken by frost. Everything and everyone is frozen solid, save the king, the sorcerer, a few soldiers, and the stranger. In a matter of moments, everything begins to shatter and fall apart. This is when the stranger, or really the assassin, decides to strike. An archer attempts to take him down but fails and gets slaughtered. The other soldiers step up to defend their king, but they too get cut down. Next comes the sorcerer. He casts a flurry of spells, but they miss their mark, and ultimately, his throat ends up getting slit. All that remains now is the king. After a failed struggle, the assassin beheads the king and takes his detached skull as a trophy. This scene ends with the assassin escaping, the ship sinking, and the rest of the king's fleet helplessly watching on. Again, self-explanatory, especially given the name of the game, Assassin of Kings. But rest assured, there will be more in this scene a little later. As for right now, the real adventure begins. Well, almost. First things first, I decided to run through the tutorial of the game. Now, apparently the tutorial doesn't really have anything to do with the main story itself, so because of that, I'll just breeze through it. However, with that being said, there were clearly a lot of changes made to the second installment. The inventory system, the menu, the combat, meditation, the leveling system, a lot of aspects either got a fresh coat of paint or were completely reworked. Now, it's worth pointing out that I am playing the Enhanced Edition, so I'm not entirely sure what's original to the original, if that makes sense, and what's been altered with the re-release. I did end up doing some brief research after the fact though, and I learned that things like the graphics, gameplay enhancements, and even the opening cinematic were new add-ons. There are also other aspects that pop up in Act 1 and beyond that are novel to the enhanced version. Although I probably won't be pointing any more of these out as I go along with my adventure, since this is obviously my first impression of The Witcher 2, and I have nothing to compare them to. I'm sure the same can be said for many of you as well. In any case, the tutorial does have a small narrative to it. Geralt finds a wounded knight along the trail, creates a health potion for him, and in return, receives the knight's invitation to the arena. This then brings Geralt to the nearby town's gate. Thinking that Geralt might be some sort of monster, the guards make him wait outside until dawn. This whole segment teaches me how to interact with the environment, loot containers, collect herbs, create potions, and meditate. Some of these aforementioned big differences between The Witcher 1 and 2 include being able to meditate wherever you'd like, not needing to be near a campfire or bed, the switch from item size carrying capacity to a weighted capacity, as well as the use of the Witcher Medallion to locate loot, quest items, and waypoints. Being able to rest on demand is a huge change for the player's quality of life, as it's become that much more convenient to pass the time or brew potions. You can now throw whatever you'd like in Geralt's inventory, regardless of literal size, but you do have to keep an eye on the overall weight that he's carrying around. As for the Witcher Medallion, it now acts as a wayfinder of sorts. It can point Geralt in the right direction, highlight containers, reveal nearby herbs, and call attention to quest items. The rest of the tutorial involves Geralt fighting in the town's arena. Narratively, it's so the Witcher can earn a few extra orens. Practically, it's so that I can get used to the combat mechanics. Gone are the days of point and click. Now, I face in a direction, use the left mouse button for a fast swing and the right mouse button for a heavy swing. That's right, as of this moment, the concept of switching between fast, strong, and group style stances are gone. What's more, enemies react to both fast and strong swings, so instead of worrying about how best to tackle an opponent, more emphasis is put on just getting the job done. Also, Geralt can now actively parry and riposte opponents, or rather, I now have full control over those actions. Accompanying those are of course dodging, and then the 5 Witcher signs/casts obviously make a return as well. Geralt also has access to slottable items, aka quick throws, traps, and lures. These are used to gain an extra edge in combat and can easily turn the battle in my favor. While quite simple, I'd have to say my favorite slottable item is the dagger. It's nice to be able to use some form of ranged attack, especially when taking on a wall of archers/arbalists. The Talger winter traps are pretty satisfying to operate as well, as I actually really enjoy just leading an enemy straight through them. As for the level up menu, this is no longer brought on by meditating, but instead pressing the associated hotkey and navigating from there. Again, another quality of life update. While overhauled, the menu does appear to keep the same sort of organization as the first game. Basics, swordsmanship, alchemy, and magic. As for acquiring these upgrades, each one costs talent points, but unlike the first Witcher, all talent points are made equal, as there don't appear to be bronze, silver, or gold tiers anymore. Like I said before, a lot of little changes have been made to the game, and there have even been some significant ones as well. Personally, I'm for most of them, as they make the game feel more modern and add conveniences to the gameplay that otherwise served as nuisances in the first installment. I'm especially a big fan of the new combat system, as there's a better flow to it and has a similar, familiar feeling to other modern day games. I will say, I ended up struggling to keep up with all of the new hotkeys and controls. Even after hours of gameplay, I'd still get confused on which key does what, how long to hold certain buttons down for, and when I could actually perform a certain action. While I'll chalk 95% of it up to being a skill issue / not assigning my own hotkeys, I still think that some of the controls could have been a little more concise. In any case, the tutorial comes to an end when Geralt perishes in the arena, or at the very least, that's when my experience wrapped up. This essentially just serves as a recommendation from the game on which difficulty you should play on. After that, the scene changes and the official story for The Witcher 2: Assassin of Kings begins. The opening shot displays a quote. It reads, "Indeed, not as more repulsive than these monsters that defy nature and are known by the name of Witcher, as they are the offspring of foul sorcery and witchcraft. Unscrupulous scoundrels without conscience and virtue. They are veritable creatures from hell, capable only of taking lives." This quote is taken from Monstrum, a portrayal of Witchers, and the author is anonymous. If you remember anything from the first game, Witchers are no longer seen as human. They're considered to be mutants by most, and anything that isn't 100% human or 100% non-human, so dwarf or elf, is viewed as an outcast from either side. The next few slides go on to describe the current political state of the continent. Much of it is a reminder of the first game. It's been 6 years since the United Northern Kingdoms had beaten Nilfgaard at Brenna. This is exactly 1 year after The Witcher 1 had taken place, and those previous 5 years had Geralt missing and presumed dead. Within many of these northern cities, non-humans are still used as the scapegoat for woes. Instead of choosing to live in poverty, many of these dwarves and elves run off to join the Scoia'tael, a legion of freedom fighters who will do whatever it takes to be seen as equals. Fast forward a bit, and the next slide discusses the ending of the first game. An assassin enters Foltest's court and tries to murder the king. Luckily, Geralt is still in attendance, and he's able to cut down the assassin first. What the slide neglected to mention though is that the assassin had Geralt's eyes, those of which are only acquired through the Witcher mutagen. Therefore, the assassin was a Witcher of some kind. As for the current timeline, King Foltest's armies are dealing with the civil uprising along the Pontar River. The slide portion ends by saying Temeria's armies were victorious, but the price of triumph proved to be immense. Cut to the next scene, and it's a familiar one. It's the same sequence that was depicted at the beginning of the first Witcher game. Geralt is stripped of his belongings. He's running through the forests, confused, tired, and terrified. There are strange noises coming from the trees around him, almost as if something is following the Witcher. From the first game, it's heavily implied that ghostly entities, often referred to as the Wild Hunt, are the things stalking him. While not the culprits, some of his fellow Witchers can be seen chasing after Geralt. Them finding and rescuing the White Wolf is how The Witcher 1 had begun. However, The Witcher 2 has a slightly different starting point.
Come on, Sixes, Daddy needs you. Oh, shit! Ha! 20 orens to Grandad. Looky there, he's awake. You daft! Don't go in there!
Shut it, he's in chains, can't do a thing.
Am I right, Master Geralt? Roll again! Why? The dice didn't roll! Calling me a cheat? Take it back. Look, he's awake again. Monster Slayer, my ass. A regular horson. I heard witches all start out as roadside orphans taken in by mages. Mages who experiment on them. Folks say they plough witches come the equinox. That's how they get those spooky eyes.
Enough! Take him down and put him in the interrogation room.
I thought you died.
I'm not so easy to kill. I don't believe we've been introduced. Vernon Roach.
Walk around behind me if you want to shake.
How foolish of me. Ves! Unshackle him.
Geralt of Rivia. Care to introduce us?
No, thanks.
Bring something to drink. We can't sit here cotton-mouthed. You will tell me everything you remember. The entire assault. And all that happened in the Solar.
And if I refuse?
I shall have to beat you. I've commanded the Special Forces for a while. Got good at beating others. You're a Witcher. You'd endure much.
You better believe it.
Worst case scenario, you'll suffer through it, go back to your cell, and tomorrow, they'll publicly gut you, skin you, and hang you.
Just like that? For nothing?
No. For Temeria.
Downright praiseworthy. Where should I start?
It was a long day. I wish to hear the important bits.
Just so we're clear on this, I was not eager to go into battle, but Foltest is not someone you refuse.
From here, the scene cuts to a classic Witcher scenario. Geralt is in bed with a naked woman. Oh, how I missed censoring my videos. Jokes aside, the woman is actually Triss Merigold, one of, if not the main love interest for Geralt in the first game. Apart from that, she's a powerful, accomplished sorceress and played a huge role in Salamandra's downfall. The ending of the first Witcher left their relationship on a bit of a cliffhanger, so I'm glad to see they were able to reunite and pursue whatever passions they had. However, there were a few moments in the first game where Triss's personal agenda and her involvement in the world's politics were questionable. There are still a few loose ends with her that I'm hoping we will get to see in The Witcher 2. Just as Geralt and Triss were going to do what they do best, a Temerian guard enters their tent and ruins the moment.
His Majesty, King of Temeria, Pontar, Mahakam, and Sodden, Senior Protector of Bruges, summons Master Geralt to appear before him.
Tell him I'll be there shortly.
Sorry to intrude like this, milady, but the King...
We heard you.
A pleasant day to you, milady. Witcher.
Stupid war. Could have been such a beautiful morning.
A war can never be stupid when waged by your king.
A wise war is a contradiction, Triss.
Then maybe you know just how I should advise our lustful monarch.
Stop falling in love, sire no further bastards, and don't wage stupid wars.
Genius. You know, these bastards could vie for the throne in the future? Then we'd have an even more senseless conflict.
Which doesn't change the fact that...
I know. Foltest and the other northern monarchs are neither the smartest nor the most refined, but they're kings, one of whom we serve.
And I'll see Foltest is summoned, protect him if need be. But once the castle falls, we leave.
Did you dream of the Wild Hunt again?
Mm-hmm. I get the feeling that dream's important. Running frantically through the forest. The Wild Hunt. They're the last things I remember. I wake up and try to relive the dream and the memory, hoping I'll find some guidance. Some clue to grab onto. Something that'll help me recover my memory.
Dreams can be very powerful. Some people claim they can even shape reality.
People claim a lot of things. The problem is, it's often nonsense.
We'll know in time. I'm sure of it.
All right. Time to look to the lustful king and his stupid war.
I'll join you later.
As depicted by the varying scenes, the prologue jumps back and forth between Geralt's time on the battlefield and his sentence in the La Valette Castle dungeons. According to the previous blurb, the dungeon sequence takes place exactly 3 days after the battle at Pontar River. As for how Geralt ended up in prison, well, that's the story he's currently telling Vernon Roche, and the one that I get to experience in the Temerian camp. Leaving Triss's tent, I got exposed to the full atmosphere of the king's encampment. I could see huts stretching on into the horizon. There were soldiers, mercenaries, and laborers buzzing around the grounds, each with their own motives for joining the war effort. Fires were raging, the trebuchets were roaring, and the sounds of marching metal were deafening. Interacting with some of the NPCs in the camp, they ended up recognizing Geralt, and I mean from well before the Battle of Brenna. They bring up their shared experience from Andrzej Sapkowski's short story, The Bounds of Reason. It involved a large party setting out to hunt down a golden dragon. Really, the biggest takeaway from the conversation is the mention of another sorceress. Geralt still can't remember much from the time, and the brutes are foggy on the details, but they describe Geralt's former companion as Ravenhaired and said that her name could have been Conifer. Again, even with my limited knowledge, I know exactly who they're talking about, and I'm sure a portion of you folks do as well. Since the Raven-haired sorceress is a popular topic for this installment, I'll let the game's narrative steer that one. For now though, no more distractions, history lessons, or explorations. It's off to the company of King Foltest, and it's time for the final push into La Valette.
Finally! Traitors of the realm boil tar on the walls while you dally with the royal advisor.
How may I assist you, sire?
We mount an assault today, and you'll be at my side. Follow me, gentlemen. Let's not keep the traitors waiting.
Sire, you said we were out of range.
That was a ballista, Excellency. Its arms strengthened with bronze plates and strung with horsehair. It can propel heavy bolts up to a mile away. A deadly and very costly weapon. An experienced crew can cock and release 2 bolts each minute. Yet it has one flaw.
Your Grace, please take cover.
The recoil of the arms is so strong upon firing that the weapon shifts. It simply cannot hit the same spot twice.
I had no idea Your Grace was a learned military engineer.
I'm not. I gave the Baroness those ballistae 2 years ago for her birthday.
Sire.
What say you, Excellency, of men who live in spite of such wounds?
And what say you, Your Grace, of soldiers who inflict them?
Those who did this live no more.
Master Geralt, I wish to converse with you once the storm of battle has subsided.
Forgive me, Excellency, but I plan to leave the royal court as soon as possible.
Might I know why?
Too often they take me for someone I'm not.
What do they call you, soldier? Wait. You served with me at Brenneran during our foray into the Pontar Valley. Norman Sador. Still an arbalist?
Yes, sir. Fight has not been kind to me.
Ha! Norman Sador, for your years of faithful service to the crown, I appoint you Decurion of the Arbalists. Onwards, gentlemen. No reason to dawdle.
Following the king and his court, I get to try my hand with one of these aforementioned ballista.
Forgive my candor, Your Majesty, but I must ask, what fate awaits the royal bastards when...
They're my children. If I hear bastard one more time, someone will die. Painfully.
Your Grace, forgive me. But the laws of succession are irrefutably clear.
Piss on the laws. I'll change them if need be. Above all, I'll not allow a band of treacherous barons to use my children as their banner.
Your Majesty is entirely within his rights.
Thanks to Geralt of Rivia, my daughter Ada is alive, and is now the wife of Radovid of Redania.
I see.
I fear you do not, Excellency. The midget king merely awaits my demise.
I am certain King Radovid of Redania wishes Your Majesty a long and healthy life.
That wasn't even amusing, Excellency. The old families will never accept a Redanian on my throne. Ada will have to content herself with Redania.
I understand. The issue of succession remains unresolved. Your Grace, I request your permission to retire.
You have it. Black One's in my camp before a battle. What has the world come to? Nothing would make me happier than returning his shriveled head to Emir in a sack. But Triss Merigold insisted I be patient and courteous. Was I?
Not really. I actually saw His Excellency sweat. But that'll be our secret.
You brought your sense of humor along. Have you learned anything about the assassin?
Nothing new, sire. A month's passed and we don't know any more than we knew when we began. This investigation's going nowhere.
My agents have learned little also. But we'll find the culprits. It's just a question of time. Now, for the battle. I want you at my side today. Then you may go where you please.
Thank you, sire.
Where are you aiming, imbeciles? Soldier! Spyglass! What is going on up there? The gods! Count Etcheverry! Catch, Witcher. Aim for the rogue with the red plume. Not 6 months ago, he swore eternal friendship to me. Quickly! How much higher?
Using the telescope, I'm in charge of finding and aiming at the opposition. As far as I could tell, there were only 2 NPCs on the wall, and one of them had an arrow over his head. Assuming that to be the rogue with the red plume, I lined him up on the crosshairs and gave the go-ahead.
3 degrees.
Did we hit the bastard?
He ducked.
Damn it! We'll get him on the walls. Follow me, Witcher!
I'm not really sure if missing was a scripted event or if I really did just misalign the ballista. Either way, no skin off my back, I'll take down the rogue when I meet him on the battlefield. For now, I'm following King Foltest up the tower. Through some old-fashioned elbow grease, the tower is currently en route to the town's walls. The idea is that once we arrive, our garrison will strike hard and strike fast, allowing the rest of Temeria's troops to enter La Valette and close out the fight. On the way up, the king rants to Geralt about Louisa, the mother of his aforementioned children. As Foltest puts it, Louisa made some demands that he couldn't quite fulfill. This caused an argument between the two of them, and things really started to escalate when the nobles intervened. They sided with Louisa, filled her head with assumptions, used her children to feed the fires of rebellion, and the rest is history. Not only is this battle about ending the La Valette insurrection, but it's also about custody of their shared children. As Foltest put it, a stronger claim to the Temerian throne may be needed for his successor, as he's not fond of Ada and Radovid as his replacements.
That tower was ridiculous.
It was designed to break the rebels' morale.
A bunch of lords and lordlings took a ride to then pompously stride on top of the walls, while the real army fought and died below them in the shit and piss-filled streets.
If years of service have taught me anything, it's that the Highborn don the best costumes and get the best vantage points, whether at a ball or in battle. But it's not the time for that kind of jousting, Witcher. Continue your story.
Things went relatively smoothly after we came out of that tower. That is, until we ran into Aryan La Valette.
Arriving at the castle walls, the battle officially begins for Geralt and King Foltest. Really, for this portion, all I have to do is follow and, quote, protect the king. This involves hacking and slashing away at any La Valette soldier who gets a little too close. Most of them are already preoccupied with a Temerian soldier, so there's really not much difficulty here.
Lord Suxon, you shall push for the center aisle and bring down that gate. It's a good day to kill, your majesty! Follow me, gentlemen! For Temeria! Lord Swan, you and your men shall follow me. We must capture or otherwise deal with Aryan La Valette in order to break the defenders' morale.
Yes, Your Grace.
Geralt, gentlemen, follow me! For the glory! Fall back, goddammit! I forbid you to die like imbeciles, hear me! They've taken a good position, the bastards! If this persists, they'll pick us off like ducks, and I'm no duck. Any ideas?
That ballista would do the trick.
Breaking off from the main force, I get to do what Geralt does best. Not slay monsters, but work alone. Slipping past the Arbalists, I left the Temerian forces behind and scaled down the castle walls. Reaching the courtyard, I mostly had encounters with small groups of La Valette soldiers. facing off against no more than a handful of knights at a time. Again, I'd say this portion is like a continuation of the tutorial. It's a chance to really exercise your combat skills. Truly, that's the sort of feeling I got from the prologue as a whole. Nothing was overly complicated, and the game was able to help me out with prompts for the controls whenever I needed them. Still, even with all of the hints, you'll probably notice that my movements were incredibly stiff. Like I mentioned earlier, it took me a while to remember all the mechanics and their associated keys. Rolling was the easiest as it was just the spacebar, so that's why most of my defense is just Geralt tumbling across the battlefield. However, parrying and riposting would take a bit of getting used to, and effectively using my signs was a work in progress as well. Really though, all I'd need is a bit of repetition to get the ball rolling. Proper finger placement and live practice would end up doing the trick. In any case, interacting with the ballista came in stages. In between each action, a new group of knights would appear in the courtyard and interrupt my work. However, defeating them would allow for a moment of peace, and that's when I could resume my task. Cocking, aiming, and finally firing the ballista, I was able to destroy the barricade that blocked access to the rest of the castle. With the way clear, I could climb back up the walls and continue the push. Slashing through a few more knights on the way over, I rejoined Foltest's army and cleared a path through the tower. If you were curious about The Witcher's geography, I found this map online that displays the continent and its regions. Honestly, this really helped me understand the layout of the kingdoms as well as the land in general. La Valette is on the northern shores of Temeria and practically sits on the outskirts of Redania. Just south of La Valette is Vizima, the seat of power in Temeria. South of that is Brenna, where the northern kingdoms defeated the armies of Nilfgaard. Kaer Morhen, the Witcher fortress and the start of The Witcher 1, is all the way to the northeast, stationed in a region called Kaedwen. As for Nilfgaard, where Shillard Fitz Osterlin hails from, and a nation that's been fairly mysterious thus far, that sits all the way to the south. Just looking at the map, there are so many kingdoms, cities, and settlements that are riddled within the continent. I can only hope that the adventure takes me to a few of these places, and that maybe, for one of these chapters, I'll get to explore outside of Temeria. In any case, back to the prologue, after fighting tooth and nail, Foltest's army would eventually hit another roadblock.
Desist, or be put down like the rabid dogs you are!
Arian La Valette, this will be no easy task. Surrender, Arian! You'll be treated with honor!
Go plow yourself, King!
Bury them in arrows! Come on, men! For Temeria!
They're well shielded.
You got a better idea?
I'll try to get inside. It shouldn't be hard if the archers provide cover.
That's the son of Louisa and the old Baron, heir to these lands. He's hot-tempered but good with a sword. Be careful.
I'll try to reason with him.
Ascending to level 2, I received a talent point to spend on a new ability. For the first 6 levels, I have to stick with the basic selection, or rather the training path. These are fairly simple upgrades, offering things like the ability to throw daggers, an increase in vitality, and the option to parry in all directions. Once I hit a certain threshold though, I have the opportunity to start branching out into the different paths. I have a strong feeling that the swordsmanship tree is going to receive most of my attention, similar to how I steered my version of Geralt in the first game. However, you never know. Maybe I'll really take a liking to the alchemy and magic skills. As the game goes on, I'll just have to see what needs improvement and go from there. After slashing my way through some more La Valette knights, I made it to the top of the castle's tower and confronted the Baroness's son, Arian La Valette.
The famed Geralt of Rivia. You've fallen low, Witcher. Word has it you're one of the best swordsmen in the north. Time to test that rumor.
Enough slaughter. Surrender and Foltest will treat you and your men with honor.
And what guarantee is there that he'll not cut us down to the last?
None.
Foltest defiled my mother. Now he colludes with Nilfgaard.
The king leads an army. You have but a few brave men and your honor. In a minute you may lose even those. Choose.
Hear that, men? The king sends a Witcher and we are to surrender, forgetting the very nature of honor and pride. We must choose. Shame or a witcher's sword? Is that how you would live? Will you bow your heads before Foltest?
Never!
You heard them, Witcher.
This is between us.
So be it. Stand back, men! My nanny told me stories about you when I couldn't sleep. I especially liked the one of Renfri and her rogues. As I grew, I dreamed of facing you one day.
That dream will not have a happy ending for you.
As the Lavalette Knights take a few steps back, Arion draws his sword and raises his shield. Unfortunately for the young noble, he's unable to handle my flurry of heavy attacks. He was mostly keeping up with the defense and never really got a chance to launch his offense. In a matter of moments, Arion's been bested and the message to the rest of the knights has been delivered.
The successor of one of Temeria's oldest families perished at the hands of a monster slayer. A sign of the times, I suppose.
You mourn, Arion?
No. He was one of a dying breed. And he was a traitor. Continue.
While I remember, what happened to the dragon?
It destroyed half the castle. Killed hordes of soldiers and flew off.
Where?
In the general direction of Edda.
To think it almost killed us all.
Arion Lavalette has surrendered the castle. Open the gate.
Arion lives!
Open now. Kneel before your king and I shall show you mercy.
Looks like we're stuck.
Indeed, and my magic's no good here. The main force down in those boats is going to beat us to town.
Want to head back to the tent? The camp will be nice and empty now. I've had enough for today.
Tempting. Look, the King's Special Forces.
What of the Baron? You really had to kill him.
No other way sometimes. Sire.
Vernon Roach. Tell me, Roach.
There's fighting in the town. A section of our forces crossed the river in fishing boats and swarmed the streets, burning, raping, pillaging. The Lavalettes are making a stand near the temple.
What of the Baroness?
Alive and safely tucked away.
Unsoiled, I hope.
As you ordered, sire. She's fine, and beautiful as ever. The children were not with her.
But you know where they are?
In the monastery, but we've yet to penetrate that area.
Cross, quickly!
Protect the king!
Just as the battle was coming to an end, a new challenger enters the fray. All of a sudden, Temerian and Lavalette soldiers alike are taking cover and fleeing for their lives. The dragon is raining down hellfire across the town. Villagers are burning alive, and debris from the walls is plummeting to the streets below. It's all-out chaos, but that doesn't stop King Foltest from completing his mission. Using the cover from the watchtowers, myself, Triss, Vernon, and the king continue to push forward. Fire behind us and traitors to the front. The only way forward is to cut through anything that's standing in our way. Once the opposition has been cleared, Triss lets us through the gates and salvation is in sight. The town's entrance is just beyond the bridge. However, nothing is ever that easy. Our sorceress gets trapped on the other side of some rubble, and the dragon doesn't let up its pursuit.
Plowing dragon nearly reversed the course of the battle.
The fighting should have scared it off.
Forget the dragon. I need to hear how this story ends.
You were at my side almost all the time after the bridge collapsed.
Almost. Tell me how you got into the monastery courtyard.
Ha! And they said we couldn't get near the walls. Half a day and the town is taken.
Report! Fighting for the castle continues, and a group of rebels have barricaded themselves inside the monastery.
What of my children?
Likely in the church as well, sire. Fen took a priest to task, finally mumbled something about a passage neath the walls.
It would take a week to get a battering ram in here.
Axes, sire?
That will also take time. But what other course do we have? This priest. What of him? What of this passage?
I fainted before I could really get going on him. He's under guard below.
You've some work to do, Commander.
Yes, sire. Silas, you look to this door. Fen, come with me.
Witcher.
Your Grace.
I've a mission for you, one suited to your abilities. Vernon can be persuasive, but he's also hot-tempered, at times losing both his self-control and his subject. You must try to find this other passage on your own. Succeed, and you'll be the envy of all Vizima.
Soldiers loyal to the Lavalettes would never harm the Baroness's children.
I shall be reassured as to that when I see them, not before. We must act quickly. The rebels are dispersed, in disarray. As dim-witted as they are, I fear they could conclude the children would make good hostages.
All right, I'll go.
I'm relying on you, Witcher.
Some time has clearly passed between the push on the castle's walls and our arrival in town. I think it's safe to assume that the dragon has fled the area. While it dealt significant damage to both sides of the war effort, it more so acted as a nuisance than it did a difference maker. Running down to the square, it looks as though Foltest's armies have secured the space. The houses and shops are burning, and the villagers have been corralled. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the Temerian soldiers are showing much mercy to the Lavalette citizens. Pockets are being emptied, corpses are starting to pile up, screams could be heard from inside the buildings. Really, the horrors go on and on. For now, all Geralt can do is obey Foltest's command and find a separate way into the temple. This involves clashing with the surviving groups of rebel soldiers and navigating through the town square. Eventually, I found myself in a back alley that contained a well. Seemingly, the well was my best bet of reaching the temple courtyard, as it allowed access past the blocked off sections of Lavalette. Descending to the tunnels below, I came face to face with my first monster of the game. The sewers were home to some drowners, humanoid fish-like creatures that feed on people. Drowners are some of the most basic monsters in The Witcher though, being presented as low-tier enemies. They're more like pawns and minions than they are challenging foes. Either way, it served as a great time to try out Geralt's silver sword. Of course, other than its material and intended purpose, there's really not much of a difference between this blade and its steel counterpart. At the end of the day though, it's all just sword fighting. After spending some time wading through the sewers and cutting down whatever lurked in the dark, I made it to a ladder that brought me within the temple's reach. Just as I was going to continue onwards, Geralt looked down from a hole in the wall and noticed something peculiar. The Scoia'tael were lined up on the Pontar River, waiting around for something or someone. Whenever the Scoia'tael are mixed in with a civil dispute, you know that something large is at play. If the outlaw group is brave enough to show their faces so close to a war zone, they definitely have something planned and up their sleeves. Either way, there's nothing that Geralt can do about it right now. There's no backtracking, and there's no way to inform Foltest and his soldiers. So the best I can do is keep moving forward. From here, I made my way through the tower and into the temple, slashing away at anything that challenged the Witcher. Arriving in the courtyard and taking out the soldiers, I managed to pick up the gate guard's key from amongst the carnage. Using it, I now had access to the gate controls and could let Foltest and his men into the courtyard with me.
You have just become the most titled Witcher in the world. And the wealthiest.
I'll remind you of that when this is all over, sire.
See, Vernon? Geralt succeeded.
Lucky he did. The priest was downright discourteous and went off to meet his gods.
I saw Scoia'tael on the river.
Where? How many? What colors did they wear?
Plough the elves. We'll tend to them later. The monastery awaits.
Scoia'tael. This puzzle is beginning to come together, Geralt. You're either telling the truth or weaving a very convincing lie. I want to hear the rest. Foltest bastards. The Solar. What happened?
We might have arrived at the same time if not for Tales.
Be specific, Witcher.
Well, the Archpriest told the truth.
His Majesty King Foltest of Temeria.
Arthur Tales, erstwhile Count of Nesvelt. I signed your sentence.
Yes, yet the Baroness saw fit to pardon me. An awkward situation, to be sure.
Anais and Boussy, where are they?
The royal children.
Don't test my patience, Tales, and I'll grant you a quick death.
Confess, Foltest, before the gods and the people. Boussy and Anais are the fruit of your loins. Bow to the gods and admit the truth.
You may not have noticed, Tales, but I just took this town.
Aided by murderers, sorcerers, and a mutant for whom nothing is holy.
This is hallowed ground. You will not raise your hand against a servant of the gods!
Where have you taken the children?
The Solar. They're in the Solar.
What is this? Blasphemy! Sorcerer's tricks!
Holy man unharmed and the noble gets slapped. A win-win situation, if ever I've seen one.
The temple houses refugees, noblemen, and priests. For the most part, it looks as though Foltest's army has left this place unharmed, although we did only just gain access to it. Following Vernon Roche and the king, again, just as things were starting to look up, obstacles continued to hurl themselves in our path.
The dragon's back! I can't.
This was a neat little minigame. Geralt and King Foltest need to make it across the bridge. Meanwhile, the dragon is hot on their tail. Really though, all I had to do for this portion was keep my finger on the S key. Periodically, the dragon would catch up to us and take a swipe, but it never seemed to get within proper range. In exchange for saving his life, the king pledges even more riches to the Witcher. As he puts it, whatever Geralt desires, within reason. Well, the Witcher's wishes are quite simple. All he wants is to leave the king's side and depart from the court. Geralt also asks that Triss be allowed to come with him, if that's what she wants as well.
Who goes there?
Foltest. I've come for my children. Geralt, wait here. You might scare them.
Ah, thanks be to the gods. My prayers are answered. go, Boosie.
That's not my father.
But it is your king, boy. Bells, your triumph is complete. The city and fortress taken, sire. Time to thank the Forefather and the Mother Creatrix for this great victory.
A moment, blind man. I've not seen my children in 6 months. The gods can spare another minute. Listen to me. Your mother and I quarreled, but that is over. She was deceived. Evil men turned her against me. These men have been punished, and all will be well from now. No tears, Boosie. One day you'll be king, and kings do not weep.
Armed men approach, sire. Children, go to the refectory.
My knights will soon be here. You must meet them, for one day you will rule them. Boosie, go wash your face. They must not see that you wept.
There's a bucket of water in the next room.
Anais, help your brother.
Sire, let us pray.
They must look like the royal children they are.
They have your eyes, sire.
I suppose that's the extent of what you'll give me.
Does this mean I'm free?
Foltest, King of Temeria, has been murdered. Unfortunately for you, you're the only suspect.
The murderer outsmarted you, so I'm to rot in this dungeon.
Oh, no danger of you rotting. You'll hang.
Convince them otherwise.
I have no influence over the court.
For fuck's sake, you command the Blue Stripes. Do something. The real murderer is free, and he's further and further away with every hour you spend prancing around in here.
I find the Killer Monk story unconvincing.
I don't claim he was a monk. He was wearing a frock, though. He sailed off in a boat with some Scoia'tael.
Would you recognize him?
No problem. A mountain of meat. Never seen anyone bigger.
What would you do if you escaped?
I'd go after the Kingslayer.
You know where to look for him?
Some Scoia'tael helped him escape. That's where I'd start. I expect you might know this particular group of elves.
How'd you work that out?
They wore blue-striped masks. Trophies, I expect.
Yorveth's commando. I know where to find them. We've a trail to follow after all.
If you want to start over and take it easy this time, get me some food.
Now that you mention it. Ves! Bring us food and drink.
Shame you didn't think of that earlier.
It's your own fault, Geralt. Your fate is in your hands. Thank you.
Never heard of women serving in the Special Forces.
Ves is one of my best people.
How'd she wind up in the Blue Stripes?
I pulled her from the paws of the Scoia'tael. Just 16 when they torched her village and slaughtered everyone. The unit commander took a liking and spared her. One last thing. This file is about one Geralt of Rivia.
And Foltest's death?
Actually, Geralt's death. The report details events from 5 years ago. Rivia. Population 1,234. In that, 253 non-humans. September the 25th, 1268. A riot erupts. A massacre ensues. The streets run with the blood of elves and dwarves. One person finds the courage to face the raging crowd. During the rioting, 76 non-humans perished, including the Witcher Geralt of Rivia. Stabbed in the chest with a pitchfork by a man of whom we know only that his name was Rob, and he owed 3 crowns at the local tavern. Yennefer of Vengerberg dies trying to heal the Witcher. The bodies of Geralt and the sorceress are taken away by a mysterious young girl with ashen hair. Their place of interment remains unknown.
I remember. Rivia. Yennefer.
What just happened?
I saw my own death.
And the rest? Have you regained all your memory?
That's all. I just remember the end.
Ves! Interrogation's done. Restrain the prisoner. I'll take the key. I sail upriver at dawn. Guards will collect you in 5 minutes. Eat. You'll need your strength.
Not yesterday, he was a hero pretty much. Everyone's man.
Personally saw him cut down 20 men in the blink of an eye, so it's no surprise.
See him dashing along those walls. Can't rightly say I ever saw his sword the blade move so fast.
I thought that beast would tear him to bits when it came out the clouds.
Delayed don't mean denied. Hangman'll do that tomorrow.
And just when Geralt was promised the world, titles, riches, glory, and most importantly, freedom, it gets ripped from his hands. With Foltest dead and the Witcher as the only suspect, he's become public enemy number 1. Whatever plans he had with Triss are out the window. Now, his only hope to get any semblance of independence is to clear his name. First things first, I have to escape the La Valette dungeons. Provoking the guards, they storm into the cell and ready themselves for a beatdown. Little do they know that Geralt is free of his bonds and is more than capable of fighting back. Taking out the jailers, I looted their bodies for the prison key. With it, I could finally begin my escape. The finale of the prologue was quite fun. Using a mix of stealth, combat skills, and wits, I had to navigate the dungeon and take on a host of guards. There were a few containers along the way that held useful items like the blackjack. This bludgeon could be used against the Temerian jailers and offered Geralt equal odds in the coming duels. Now, if I was smart, I would have paid more attention to the game's hints and followed the instructions for a stealth approach. By extinguishing the torches and catching the jailers from behind, I could knock them out with a right mouse click. This would have caused much less commotion, and lore-wise, the soldiers would have been able to go home to their families. However, immediately forgetting the mechanics and choosing to not reread them, I just stuck to the more violent option. Maybe by attacking with the blackjack, Geralt could have only broken some bones and smashed some skulls in. There's a chance that some of these guards could still be alive, right? In any case, securing the upper dungeon's key, I was free to move on to the next area.
I am Shilad Fitz-Estellen, emissary of the Empire of Nilfgaard and its most divine Emperor, Emhyr var Emreis.
What do you want of me, Nilfgaardian?
Simply to speak, my lady.
Ah, really? Something you would not dare were my son still alive.
I very much regret the death of the Baron La Valette. Please accept my deepest condolences. Yet it is precisely his loss that renders our conversation mutually desirable.
Let go of me. I shall walk unaided. I shall return, rogue! And I shall repay you.
Let us go, my lady. Your cries can do us no good.
I suppose Shilard is either in on my escape, sees it as beneficial to Nilfgaard, or just genuinely believes in Geralt's story. Going through Louise's old cell, I was brought to a room that held the Executioner and a scribe. Defeating them wasn't all that significant to the story, however, it did feel like a one-up on the system, and a symbol of Geralt escaping a grim fate. Following the Ambassador's trail, it led me to more guards, and that meant even more brawling. Again, lack of stealth means more commotion, and that brought on a horde of jailers. Compared to the last few tussles, this encounter felt fairly drawn out. I wondered if it was meant to be seen as a punishment from the game for not being sneaky, or if that's just how the event was scripted. Either way, before long, I made it to the cell that Louisa and Shallard were occupying.
Come in, Master Geralt. Allow me to introduce the Baroness Lavalette, mother to the royal children, who at present mourns the passing of her eldest son.
Milady.
I comfort the Baroness with assurances that House Lavalette need suffer no more, its future brighter as it stands protected by the Empire of Nilfgaard.
Did you kill my son, Arion?
I had no choice. He knew what can happen once swords are drawn and begin to swing. He chose death over shame.
Stubborn like his father and grandfather before him. Honor above all. How did he die? Did he suffer?
No. I doubt he felt the final blow. Didn't even see it coming.
There's that, I suppose.
Milady, I killed many during the assault, not just your son. War demands sacrifices. You might remember that the next time you're about to start one.
Have some compassion, Master Geralt. The Baroness requires support. She is distraught as it is.
Unnecessary toil, Excellency, for witches have no feelings. And the truth, especially when painful, can wake us from the slumber of self-deception. I deserved as much.
Milady, I wouldn't trust the ambassador if I were you.
Master Geralt, let us be serious, please.
Let him speak. I wish to hear this.
I didn't know your son, but I know he saw the Empire as a foe, as did King Foltest.
You've no notion of the events transpiring in the kingdom, of what Kimbold, Maravel, and their ilk are capable. My duty is to Foltest's children, their safety. And though I too see a pact with Nilfgaard as a pact with the devil, I feel I have no choice. Besides, can you say that you really knew the king?
Well enough to be confident of my words.
Truly? In that case, what kind of a man was he? I wish to know your view.
He laughed at pleasantries, envied those better than him, feared those stronger, despised the weaker and killed those he hated. Those he loved he presented with ballistae. He was a man like any other, except he was born to be king.
True. He was a boar in a crown.
Milady.
And that was the first and last honest epitaph he'll get. Once the poets start in, nothing will remain of the real Foltest.
Milady, you will set down your memoirs. I shall make that my mission. Once we bring in the appropriate artist...
Later, Excellency. All in due time. The ambassador questioned your guilt. It seems now that I too believe you did not slay the king. Your Excellency, you will aid the Witcher to escape the castle. That is my wish.
But, my lady, this would represent an immeasurable risk in my estimation. And there is the matter of your son.
He chose his fate, and departed in a manner worthy of the Lavalettes. How am I to believe you'll protect me from reptiles like Kimbold and Maravel when you balk at the notion of deceiving a few prison guards?
Milady, I shall do what is in my power. Give me a moment, Witcher, then proceed to the main gate.
So it appears the ambassador is a man of opportunity. The city's on fire, its leader captured, and the king is dead. Yet he makes it his top priority to make an alliance between the Lavalettes and Nilfgaard. I suppose all my guesses for his cooperation in my escape were equally true. He's working behind the scenes for Nilfgaard, he doesn't think I killed the king, and he had some notion that I might be leaving. Really, the main takeaway from this encounter is that the southern kingdoms and their representatives should have an eye kept on them at all times. They're striking while the iron's hot, but no one's really sure on what kind of weapon it is that they're crafting. In any case, Shallard creates a distraction for Geralt, and this allows me to escape out into the city. Under the cover of night, and with a few more lethal takedowns, I'm able to meet back up with Triss. I suppose Vernon thought she could be trusted, as, after all, the sorceress was a close ally to the king. Following Marigold, she leads me to Roach's riverboat. From there, the Witcher is able to close out this chapter and leave Lavalette behind him.
You were to sneak out. Avoid anything resembling a bloodbath.
You left me the key to my manacles, not an invisibility cloak. Triss, is everything all right?
Not exactly. I'm no longer the royal advisor. I've lost my post, my home in Vizima. Witcher's mistress, they call me. Kingslayer's whore.
Triss, you put yourself out there.
An interregnum is chaos by definition. Rats like Baron Kimbolt and Count Maravel rule Temeria now, or strive to. But no one save old Natalis can restore true order.
Natalis is far away and of low birth. The crown's simply out of his reach. Baron Kimbolt, on the other hand.
Politics is secondary right now. Vernon, learn anything new about the Kingslayer?
A week ago I got a message from an informer in Flotsam. He saw Yorveth in the company of a large, bald man, not unlike the one you described.
A week ago? Sounds like a cold trail to me.
We need to start somewhere. The trading post is a few days upriver, in the forests that lie on the Aedirnian border. Yorveth's territory.
Flotsam it is, then. Triss.
Yes?
I'm a bit beat up. Will you look at my wounds?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go below deck. And I need you to tell me about Yennefer in detail. I want to hear it all, even the things you don't want to tell me, even the things that might hurt.
Prepare to cast off! Clear the lines and all aboard!
Lines clear, Captain!
War is a good time to forge friendships, alliances. Harry and Lavalette, busy building walls and forging swords, forgot that. When he was gone, those he loved were forced to forge friendships with those he hated.
Life can't be easy for anyone who's unlucky enough to be labeled a regicide. That goes triple for someone like Geralt. Could his luck get any worse? I've known The Witcher for a long time, and I'm sure that kings, courts, and politics concern him about as much as last year's snow. But hey, life doesn't always dole out what we expect, right? Sometimes it even forces us to associate with unsavory characters like Vernon Roche. No, I'm not making any excuses, and yes, I had my reasons. The Witcher spent most of the way to Flotsam talking to someone. Long into the evening, as water lapped against the boat's side, Triss told him forgotten stories of his unexpected child and his toxic relationship with a sorceress named Yennefer. Stories of a life stolen from him. Am I boring you? Don't set this tale aside. Give me just a few minutes more, for someone special's about to appear in dire straits upon a scaffold.
Sheathe your sword, elf. I'm here to talk. Bow low. You stand before a head crowned. That of Demavend, King of Aedirn, by the grace of the gods, sovereign of the Pontar Valley, and so on.
And you are?
A friend to non-humans. I have an offer.
Speak quickly and to the point. The Arrakis will soon return, and I'd rather know all before then.
I can add several more heads to this one. Each crowned.
Go on.
Foltest to start with. I barely escaped in Aedirn. I'll need help. Access to your hideouts and maps of your secret trails. And the support of the Scoia'tael. I want no gold and have no interest in a killer's fame.
Then why do you wish them dead?
It's a long story. Your beast nabbed his knacker. Time to go. Do we have a deal, elf?
Flotsam should be just beyond the point. We'll take the beach.
Who's we?
You and me. Reconnaissance.
I'm coming too.
You should stay behind. We can't be sure of the reception we'll get.
Precisely why I won't let you go alone. Someone's got to look after you.
Arriving on the riverbank between Temeria and Aedirn, the prologue comes to an end and Chapter 1 of The Witcher 2 begins. Leaving the riverboat, Vernon and Triss talk about the area around Flotsam. Triss asks Roach about what he's heard from his, quote, secret informant. The commander relays that the ports have been blocked and that the Scoia'tael, or rather Iorveth, rule the forest. Therefore, travel in and out of Flotsam isn't going to be easy for anyone. After that, Marigold throws in a brief history blurb. It's about how these forests once belonged to Demavend, the previous king of Aedirn, whose head now rests in a cave nearby. Before the conversation continues, Vernon cuts her off and shushes the group. There's a recorder being played in the distance, and almost immediately, Roach attributes it to an elf.
That's Vernon Roach, Special Forces Commander for the last 4 years, servant of the Temerian King, responsible for the pacification of the Mahakaman foothills, hunter of elves, murderer of women and children, twice decorated for valor on the field of battle.
Iorveth, a regular son of a whore!
I've long awaited our meeting, laid plans, set traps, and now you appear in my forest of your own volition.
You aided the man who slew my king.
King or beggar, what's the difference? One Dwan less.
Since when did the Scoia'tael hire professional killers to do their dirty work? A Dwan, even. You've fallen low.
A hired killer, true. But in all certainty, he is no Dwan.
Don't make a big deal of the race thing.
Yet race is the very reason we fight. We have pointed ears, yours are rounded. We are few, yet long-lived. Your kind multiplies like vermin, though thankfully expires quickly. Humans and elves alike, trying to prove one shape is better than the other. 400 years of killing over the mold of the Oracle.
The Kingslayer's among you. We've come for him.
Then our interests collide. The Kingslayer is under my protection, and I'll not hand over a guest.
You're just another old elf in a young elf's skin, using clever words to mask an obvious truth.
Obvious, you say?
This is not about race or freedom, or even vengeance. You're here because someone powerful told you to be. Someone who's using you. They may wear a crown, carry a magic wand, or even lead a guild. But be sure of this. It's not about your freedom, your rights, or your ears. Nilfgaard plowed you once. Now someone new does. Am I wrong?
Those times are gone. No one will ever use the Scoia'tael again.
Who are you addressing? Me? Yourself? Or the archers in those shrubs?
Enough of this, Hiss!
Starley!
Tiny spars, parapet wand, warped!
That ought to discourage them. Triss, are you all right?
Lovely.
You should have charmed the archers. They're coming.
Even with Triss coming in and out of consciousness, her protective spell is still up. Using it, the trio can evade incoming artillery and make their escape. Geralt suggests heading back to the riverboat, but Vernon says that the Scoia'tael have already cut off that path. Therefore, the only way out is forward and to Flotsam. Since Triss's spell is only active around her, and we're obviously not going to leave her behind, Roach volunteers to carry the sorceress through the forest. However, that leaves just Geralt to deal with any incoming Scoia'tael attackers. Fortunately, the elves only approach in pairs or as singles, and they go down with just a few swings. Meanwhile, the trek to Flotsam has Roach and Triss bantering about how he's holding her, and the whole exchange is quite comedic. Before long, we were within striking distance of the trading post, and the whole town was alerted to our arrival.
You know each other?
Rather well. But he has amnesia. I actually took the Witcher by surprise when I killed Foltest. Fear not, Elf. I know Geralt. I know his weakness.
Too many spells at once. You can die from that.
See that?
Yeah, the Kingslayer and Yorvith.
You all in one piece? Who are you?
I'm a Witcher.
Emir var Emrys, spice merchant.
A trader?
In spices.
Uh-huh. And the woman?
My good man, we barely escaped death. Be so kind as to tell us where we might get some rest. We'll explain everything later.
Very well. Head for the market square. You might be in time for the execution. Some ne'er-do-wells are going to hang. A dwarf and some bard. There's also an inn and a brothel.
Oh yeah, the brothel sounds especially interesting. Take care now.
Reaching the limits of Flotsam, we were officially under the town's protection. For the time being, Yorvith couldn't touch us. However, Flotsam itself presented Geralt with all sorts of new dilemmas, mysteries, and adventures. Unfortunately, there's no word on Vess and the rest of Roach's guards back at the river. The Scoia'tael were quite aggressive, and honestly, I don't think the outlook's very good for the rest of the crew. For now, there's nothing I can do about it though. Either way, back to the town, this settlement reminded me of some spots from the first Witcher game, namely Old Vizima and Lakeside. There clearly wasn't much to Flotsam, and the people here certainly weren't wealthy either. But it did have its fair share of savory characters and points of interest. For starters, all anyone could talk about was the hanging. Right off the bat, when I heard they were executing a bard and a dwarf, I knew exactly who those prisoners were. Of course, their destinies are equally as intertwined with Geralt's as say Triss's. Rushing to the town square, I managed to get there just in the nick of time.
Zoltan. Dandelion, my informer.
Just great.
What's the plan?
We improvise.
No killing.
We'll take care of this, Triss.
Geralt! Geralt! Over here! Help!
Getting in close, Geralt tried his hand at halting the execution and having his old friends released.
Step back, White One.
What are they going to hang for? They don't look dangerous.
The charge is collusion with the Scoia'tael.
Dandelion, an elven spy?
The bard's hanging for debauchery.
What?
The sentence was he's to hang for debauchery.
And a sentence is nothing to scoff at!
Are you serious? Listen here, people. Is profligacy now a punishable offense in the free kingdom of Temeria? Or are we in Nilfgaard?
Piss off, freak! Or you'll have me to deal with. Think of the common folk, you're spoiling their fun.
Well, a freak he may be, but he speaks true. Debauchery's one of my favourite pastimes, but I don't want a noose placed around my neck for pursuing it.
The soldier boys paid us a visit or two, though we didn't have much fun.
Away with you, Margot! Go back to your brothel!
Time to go? Fine. But hear this, people. He sure liked to parade about, but his Willie wouldn't come to attention. Ha!
Stop the execution.
Shut your trap! The singer's to hang and he will hang. This is a decent town. Whores and witches notwithstanding.
Watch your words, guardsman! I don't know witches, but Margot's a decent woman!
Shut it, all of you! Or I'll not vouch for what I'll do.
Thinks he's tough, showing off his balls. But don't fret, people. I've seen the rot on them.
I'm warning you for the last time, Margot!
You wouldn't hit a lady.
You're no lady!
So, The Witcher 2 likes presenting the player with these quick-time events. So far, they've mostly been used for fistfights, like back in the La Valette dungeon. Technically, they're not that hard. You just press the prompted WASD key and continue to do so until it's lights out for the other guy. However, me being me, I didn't realize how the event worked until my last fight. I thought I had to mash the highlighted key. Doing so ends up completely failing the QuickTime event, and that's when Geralt gets pummeled. However, all it's supposed to take is one click and some patience to move on to the next sequence. Before long, I was facing down the Executioner. Knocking him senseless, that seemed to save the lives of Zoltan Chivy and Dandelion the Bard.
What the hell is going on here? I said, what the arse fuck is going on?
I'd like to report. Out of my sight, Clover. A few ploughing bandits and you can't even hang them. And you, stay calm, hands off your sword. Our scaffold embraces speeches and hangings. Which will it be?
You have no right to hang them.
Interesting. Because I'm the law in Flotsam.
I take issue with that. Vernon Roach, officer of the king.
Well, well. Blue Stripes. The non-human hunters.
Precisely. Anyone suspected of collaborating with the Scoia'tael falls under my jurisdiction.
And Dandelion? What's he accused of?
He burned down a watchtower. What's your jurisdiction say to that? I thought so.
Is that true?
It might have looked that way, but I swear it wasn't my fault.
I'd rather give you a thief. Relax. I'm joking. I hate thieves. We can put on another show. Bloody and serious this time, mind you. Or we can come to an understanding.
Meaning?
Give me a minute, would you? Listen here. You may have heard rumours of the tragic events that transpired during the siege of La Valette Castle. Sadly, they are true. King Foltest is dead. It's likely that Scoia'tael had a hand in this heinous murder. So you see, none of you can feel safe. That is why today, wagons with armaments will roll out into Flotsam's streets. I hereby declare a state of emergency. await orders. Prepare to fight, and ready yourselves to avenge your fallen king. Now disperse. Go to your homes.
What about them?
They'll not hang for now. Let's say I'm reconsidering their cases. The scaffold's no place for civil conversation. We'll talk at my home. Your friends are free for the time being, but they're not to leave town. Come after dusk. I'll be busy till then. There's one more thing. Welcome to Flotsam, Witcher.
They were really going to hang us. I don't know. I didn't mean to torch that watchtower.
Everything's all right, Dandelion. Let's get out of here.
Oh, we owe you, Geralt. Thank you. Time to hit the tavern. Come on, Dandelion, you need a stiff drink. And while we're at it, I'll tell you an edifying tale of local hypocrisy that conceals lechery neath a veneer of courtesy. Except nothing can hide the stench.
Well, while chaotic, I managed to save Geralt's friends from certain death. What's more, it's nice to have both Zoltan and Dandelion in town, as that gives the Witcher access to more trusted allies. For the time being, my primary objective is to meet with Loredo after dark, the man who's allegedly in charge of Flotsam. Before doing that though, I can indulge in all the town has to offer, aka vendors and the tavern. The former is great for dumping all of my excess loot and receiving some orens in exchange. The latter is of course excellent for catching up with my old companions. While out and about, exploring the streets, I actually ended up getting cornered by some mercenaries. Apparently, there's a bounty out on Geralt's head, and while the Witcher is worth more alive than dead, they'll settle for the minimum amount of orens. Dealing with the bandits, I figured that it was probably time to get off the streets and made way for the inn. Chatting with Triss first, Geralt and her talked about their lifestyle change, going from high-class citizens to fugitives, getting to know Roach's men, and Geralt's death a few years back. The conversation has a lot of flavor, but it doesn't progress the story much. Moving along to the nearby table, Geralt and Triss sat down with the other three companions. The group chat offers a little more insight into some of the characters, and I even got to hear more about the assault in La Valette. For example, Triss was there when the Highborns of Temeria tried to select a successor. They argued for 3 days and still couldn't come up with an answer as to who should be king. Tensions were high and some candidates were apparently poisoned, and yet no ruler was chosen. As for Dandelion and Zoltan, the former is apparently Vernon Roach's informant, while the latter has been accused of joining the Scoia'tael. After Chivi's engagement was broken off, the dwarf traveled to Flotsam from Vizima. During that time, his presence likely aroused suspicion from the locals. Zoltan claims that he'd never stooped to banditry, and given that he's one of Geralt's few friends, the Witcher owes him his belief. As for Dandelion, the bard doesn't deny spying for Temeria. He says that poetry and music alone aren't enough to sustain his lifestyle, and you know what? That's fair. From there, the conversation ends with Geralt explaining his current situation. He talks about Foltest's murder, the assassin, and clearing his name. However, just before the conversation could be expanded on, the town's alarms are raised and a villager frantically rushes into the tavern.
Greetings.
Save yourselves, good folk! The beast attacks!
We better get out there. Someone's casting spells.
What sort of sorceress are you? A lot of good you did. Can't you hear me? Why didn't you help him?
He's alive, isn't he?
The beast nearly pulled him in the water while you stood staring like a calf at a shit-covered clover.
Watch your words.
Where's this beast?
Ask her.
Geralt.
Ah, I guess we knew each other.
Oh, look here. Birds of a feather.
Let's say I've heard of you.
Master Witcher, this is foolish. The beast near pulled Sozek into the depths, and you're simply chatting with this damsel.
Sozek's alive, and nowhere near the depths. The monsters vanished without a trace.
You best take us seriously, lest you vanish without a trace.
I'm tired of your whining. Get out of here.
Ah, as ever. It's the common folk that get ploughed. Come on, lads!
I apologize for interrupting, but I am Louis Merce, and I am chief person in charge of all matters related to monster hunting in Flotsam. It is in this capacity that I must inquire if you're willing to attempt to resolve the problem of our so-called Kayren, the beast that now blocks all trade traffic on the river.
So, Witcher, are we willing?
I usually work alone.
I was here first, and I'll not relinquish this contract. My way or the highway, as the locals put it.
Fine. Your way it is.
You must contact the merchants on the waterfront as regards any rewards. Madame de Tanseville has, I believe, already conducted some preliminary negotiations.
That I have.
In that case, don't let me keep you.
Triss, how long must I wait for you to introduce us?
Sheila de Tanserville, advisor to Queen Zulika of Kovir.
Kovir is a long way north.
True. I had my doubts if the Kayren was worth the journey, but those were dispelled with what it showed today.
Here to hunt down some ingredients?
Triss Merigold. Sharp as ever.
You're thinking that...
Troll eyes, ghoul venom, virgin's blood, all those disgusting marvels we take from dying species, to throw into the cauldron at Sabbaths. Right, Triss?
Absolutely. Virgins are a dying breed.
Oh my. Your sense of humor seems to be intact too. But enough of these pleasantries. Tell me, Geralt, you saw the tentacle. What do you make of it all?
The beast must be huge. Maybe inhabited one of the Pontar's tributaries before, hunting animals. Then it grew for some reason, and hunger drove it to seek fresh pastures.
And on the Pontar it found trade barges burgeoning with obese, slow-moving merchants. You're partly correct. Cedric claims the Kayren emerged from the northern swamps approximately 1 month past.
Cedric?
An elf. Formerly a Scoia'tael. Strange bird. But he knows quite a bit about the area and its living wonders.
I need to look around, find out a few things.
An investigation. Witchers' rituals, extracting secrets and such.
More or less. I'll talk to the merchants about the reward, pay Cedric a visit and get back to you.
You'll find me at the inn. I've rented lodgings there, on the upper floor.
You know the inn's also a whorehouse.
Thanks for the warning.
And thus brings on one of my favorite aspects about The Witcher. The main story starts to branch off. There are multiple plot points going on at the same time, but in the end, they all meet back up with one another. Geralt has to embark on different investigations, each with their own unique characters, places, and items. When one trail runs cold, the other usually picks up, and that's what keeps the narrative's wheels turning. It also adds depth and mystery to what would otherwise be a small and simple trading village. Flotsam is about to become way more interesting than it's likely ever been. For now, I decided to work off a first-come, first-served basis. Loredo had asked to see me well before the Kayren had attacked the harbor. Something tells me though that these two quests are intertwined anyway, but I'll only know for sure once I hear out the Commandant. Resting Geralt until midnight, I approached Loredo's residence and spoke with the guards.
What?
The Commandant wanted to see me.
Leave your weapon here.
Guard it with care. It's very valuable.
Wait, Wolf. I need to talk to the Commandant too.
You going inside or not?
Listen, friend. I'm an officer and you're a runt. And when I say jump, you will not only...
Come on, Roach.
A ballista. The bastard's got a ballista. You know the power of this weapon. Its arms strengthened with bronze plates and strung with horsehair. It can propel heavy bolts up to a mile away.
Yeah, an experienced crew can release 2 bolts each minute, but it can't hit the same spot twice because it recoils and shifts. I've heard that somewhere before.
Where did you learn about ballistae?
I knew someone who knew a bit about them.
Unimportant. We need to damage it if we don't want to be at Loredo's mercy. They're all drunk here now. I'll provoke the guard.
Relax, Roach. I don't want to fight this rabble again.
As long as that weapon's operational, no one will sail this section of the Pontar without Laredo's express permission.
I'll handle this. Go have a drink.
Certainly an interesting observation by Roach. That ballista could absolutely tear through any riverboat that's sailing to and from the harbor. Is it really a top priority to try and jam the weapon though? For me, not really. However, if it makes Vernon feel more comfortable and if it adds drama to the game, I could certainly try.
Laredo's busy with that witch Sheila. Come back later.
Geralt, let's wait downstairs in the yard.
How did you plan to get rid of the guard by the ballista?
I have my ways. But you wanted to do it alone, so go talk to the buffoon.
Do we wait until the Honorable Lady is done with the Venerable Hick?
Waste of time. Looks like a good number of Flotsam's town watchmen are here. We should look around. Did you see that arbalist behind the house? I'll get his attention. Give him something to think about. Why don't you find out what they're guarding so closely?
My apologies, gentlemen. I could not help overhearing your conversation.
What do you want?
In point of fact, it's a matter for the Witcher. I have an offer.
An offer? Interesting.
I suspect you did not come to Flotsam for pleasure alone.
You suspect right.
Do you know about the monster in the river?
Might have heard something.
I expect someone will hire you to deal with it sooner or later. Thus, I presume that...
Stop presuming, expecting, and concluding. Just tell me what you want.
Our honored host is in possession of part of a trap, built especially for the beast in question.
Go on.
Around back, there's a storage area where Laredo keeps the treasures he confiscates from merchants and travelers. There are heaps of things out there.
Let me guess. You know exactly where I need to look.
Precisely. I saw Laredo's men carrying the contraption across the garden in a crate. They placed it on a platform by the wall, beyond which lies the craftsman's district.
Why are you telling me?
Why? We need to be rid of the beast as soon as possible. Good luck.
All right. I'll distract the guard. You sneak behind the house.
Brilliant as ever.
So, to be honest with you all, I didn't do so hot in this segment. I had a string of Witcher L's that I took here. As Vernon did his part and distracted the first guard, I was able to sneak past the second. However, like a troll in the garden, I just sort of bounced up to the third. He caught me red-handed, and that put an end to the whole Kayrin trap arc. Furthermore, as you'll see soon enough, the failures did not end there.
In Flotsam, we cut the hands off thieves.
I was looking for the privy.
You're lucky the Commandant wants to see you. Come on!
Commandant, sir. We caught the Witcher sneaking around the garden.
Bring him in and leave.
Yes, sir.
We were just discussing a certain matter. You here on business too?
The Commandant wanted to see me.
In that case, I shall leave you to it.
Finally!
They didn't want to let me in while the sorceress was here.
Did you see her? Made up like a whore on parade day. They think they can do anything, those sorceresses. I heard what happened in Temeria. You know your name's on a warrant. It's unfortunate, though nothing that should impede our dealings. See, I'm the law round here, and the law needs to know what the legendary White Wolf's doing in this cesspit.
I'm looking for the man responsible for Foltest's death.
Here?
I know the Scoia'tael had a hand in it too. It's their trail I followed to Flotsam.
Lucky you found Bernard Laredo then. If you're telling the truth, Yorveth's got raw blood on his hands. I can help you find him.
What about Vernon Roach? Why didn't you let him in?
Roach? Know the aura that surrounds him? Men like him act first and think later. And when they act, almost inevitably innocent blood flows. I trust you're on our side.
Whose side is that?
That of the people of Flotsam, of course. Terrorized by the elven bandits for years now.
A local conflict, none of my business.
You killed some elves on the riverbank outside Flotsam.
We were attacked.
You failed to understand.
It's you who doesn't understand, Laredo. To tell you the truth, I'm not human.
You an elf? A dwarf? No, talking bollocks. I piss on the fact that they call you freak for your white hair and glowing eyes. You're a human like any other. We're fighting a war. And you, my friend, cannot straddle the fence.
Your point, Commandant?
You're a witcher. Your job is to protect the simpletons from monsters. I protect them from the danger that lurks amongst the trees.
I see where this is going.
Yorvith's no better than a monster that attacks those who go out to gather kindling. Matter of fact, he's worse. He's smarter and crueler.
How do we get him?
I don't want you to kill him. Even you don't have a hope against his entire force. I've an idea, but I'd rather not go into it now. The squirrels are up to something. Every night their scouts come closer. I suspect they plan to attack the barge moored in the port.
What do you want me to do?
As long as Yorveth remains free, humans, elves, and dwarfs will live alongside each other in deep distrust. I've got to learn what the pointy-eared rat is planning.
How am I supposed to get that information?
You underestimate me, Witcher. True, I have my prejudices, but I'm not blinded by them. Take your friend Zoltan, for instance. He contacted Yorveth.
How can Zoltan help if he can't go outside the walls?
Step by step, Geralt. That's how you build trust. You could start by tending to a problem we have. A beast. The Kayran has blocked all boat traffic. I'm losing tolls. That is, the trading post is losing revenue. Kill the Kayran and I'll declare your friends acquitted of their crimes. Then Zoltan can take you to see Yorveth.
I'll see what I can find out.
You stir up storms wherever you go. I actually believe you'll bring peace to Flotsam. Don't disappoint this town, Geralt. Farewell.
While cagey and clearly hiding something, the Commandant doesn't seem to be that unreasonable. He treated Geralt like a person, so there's that. He cares for Flotsam, and it seems like Bernard might have the people's interests at heart. Obviously, I don't know much about him, so the jury's still out for his character judgment. Of course, his comments about losing tolls with the ports was quite strange. Company that with the ballista and all those confiscated goods out back, and I have a sneaking suspicion he's shaking down traveling merchants. For now though, that's just a loose accusation, so I'll have to see if anything more comes of it. Unrelated, but Loredo keeps doubling down on Zoltan's connection to the Scoia'tael. It's enough to where I'm now double guessing his honesty too, but again, I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's Geralt's friend, and I think he's owed that much. In any case, leaving the Commandant's residence, Roach was waiting for me outside. He never received an audience with Loredo. It seems like at this point, neither man trusts one another, hence the whole suspicion with the ballista. Speaking of which, my second Witcher L comes from actually leaving Bernard's place. I had completely forgotten about the ballista, and exiting his residence, I ended up failing that portion of the quest. I can no longer try and disable the weapon. That means that Loredo can still use it for whatever purpose he desires, and I'm just hoping that won't come back to bite me in the butt. In any case, my previous suspicions were right. While there was a lot more to the conversation with the Commandant, his first task for the Witcher was to kill the Kayran.
Where might you be going?
What kind of question is that? Anyway, know where I can find an elf named Cedric?
Don't get involved in this.
You did turn pale when we met Sheila.
You must have imagined that.
I know you too well.
Sheila's one of the most powerful sorceresses.
That's no reason to fear her.
She can't be trusted, in my experience. I know her to be devious and manipulative.
Any proof?
She's well aware you lost your memory, yet pretended she didn't know.
And why would she do that?
I don't know. Her true intentions have always been hard to fathom.
I'll see if I can't learn what they are.
How?
I'll go hunting with her, right after I find Cedric.
Well, then let's go see him. He should be at the top of his observation tower.
Geralt isn't wrong. Triss did seem uncomfortable around Sheila. I don't know if that could be chalked up to old-fashioned sorceress rivalry, or if Triss knows more than she's letting on. I brought it up not long ago, but it wouldn't be the first time she's withheld information from Geralt. In any case, walking on ahead, I was able to find Cedric in the nearby watchtower.
In Belk. It'll be nearly a year now.
Moril would delight in a day like this, Saharan. Enjoy the memory of her. Don't wallow in the longing.
I try. I do. But I cannot believe all the bad blood this disappearance has bred.
Don't let other Shay poison your memory of her. Hatred is but an outlet for helplessness.
Thank you, Cedric. Vafael.
Vafael.
Approaching the elf, I made his acquaintance and asked my questions about the monster.
Are you Cedric?
Who asks?
Geralt of Rivia.
Ah, the Witcher. And?
Triss Marigold.
Lovely scent, Triss.
Cedric, look at me.
What do you want, Geralt of Rivia?
I aim to kill the Kayran. Heard you might be able to help.
That depends on the sort of aid you seek.
I need information.
We should have killed it years ago. Now I don't know. The beast has become too large for the riverbed, and it has strange growths on its tentacles, extremely thick skin. Previously, it inhabited a swamp along one of the Pontar's tributaries. Completely wild terrain. Even the Scoia'tael don't venture there. You should go see the wreck of the boat it recently sank. Inspect any traces it's left. See the destruction.
Where's this wreck?
Venture south into the forest, then turn east toward the river. You'll find the ruins of a bridge erected long ago by the Enshe. The wreck lies at their foot.
Thanks, Cedric.
Using her magic, Triss teleports over to the site and leaves me to venture there on my own. Thanks, Marigold. As pointed out by Cedric, the wreck is along the swamps of the forest, outside the safety of Flotsam's walls. Readying myself, I pushed past its gates and ventured back out into the unknown. According to the map, the shipwreck is slightly northeast of the trading post. There's a path along the forest that takes me directly there. Honestly, I thought I'd be running into enemies like ghouls, archospores, Zekanops, and Kikimors. You know, monsters that I encountered in the first game. However, that didn't end up happening. Instead, I ran into several groups of bandits, which, to be honest with you, felt a little more sinister. Obviously, monsters and beasts will tear apart the townsfolk too. However, there's a level of intelligence and premeditation from the bandits that makes it extra nefarious. They probably know that the Kayrans blocked all river access, and that Yorith controls the surrounding forests. What do they do with that information? Set themselves up on the only other path that leads out of town, murdering, stealing, and doing Melitelli knows what to anyone who crosses through. It's a dark, thought-out plan that really only humans could come up with. In any case, joining back up with Triss, we arrived at the scene of the wreck. Making our way to the swamps below, Geralt immediately notices something peculiar in the mud.
See those footprints?
Yeah, strange place for an evening walk.
Unless you're looking for adventure.
Someone else has been here recently, but besides those footprints, there's no other signs of life here. Well, intelligent life, that is. Crossing through the swamps, myself and Marigold are immediately set upon by drowners. I talked small game of them earlier, calling them low-tier enemies and pawns. However, I will give them this. In groups, they can be quite the challenge. In fact, without a designated group-style combat stance, I actually find it pretty tricky to engage with more than one opponent at a time. While I'm swinging at one of them, another will approach from a different angle and catch me off guard. While unfortunate, it's not too big of a deal, and I'm sure that as time goes on, I'll learn how to handle a variety of encounters. When the drowners were taken care of, myself and Triss approached the Kayran's lair. It was covered in a thick layer of mucus which concealed most of the contents. However, Marigold was able to run a diagnostic on the bodily fluids, and that ended up telling us a lot.
This monster's sick, Geralt. It's dying.
How much time does it have left?
A few years? Perhaps a decade and change?
Too long. What's wrong with it? Any information could be useful.
The diagnostic spell showed that some of the cells in its body have mutated.
What else?
The Kayran's highly venomous.
Any ideas for an antidote?
Your Witcher's metabolism should neutralize small doses of the toxin. But if I were you, I wouldn't rely on my mutations alone. An Ostmark potion should do the trick.
I know the herb, but haven't the faintest where I might find it around here. I need to figure out how I want to fight the Kayran. Maybe I won't need the potion.
Do what you will, but don't say I didn't warn you. Sheila might be eager to get this done, but before you go see her, ask some of the locals about Ostmark. You could try Cedric. Here's the formula for the potion. I need to take care of some things. Manage without me for a while? See you.
According to the quest update, I should have enough information to take on the Kayran. I was told of the monster trap in the courtyard. I know that Osmerk will help fight its venom, and when ready, Sheila will accompany me in the upcoming battle. Really, it's just up to me on how I want to proceed with this matchup. Returning to Flotsam, I thought about my next steps. Ultimately, I decided not to pursue the Osmerk. My reasons were that 1, Triss said that Geralt's metabolism should be able to handle small doses of the venom, and that 2, Geralt himself said that he probably doesn't need it. I understand the Osmerk would give me an extra edge in battle, but if the game presents it as optional, I think I'll pass. Trust me, I know it's not the smart decision, but it's the one I went with. As for what came next, well, I tried to go back to Loredo's residence in search of the Kayran trap. While the ballista portion of the quest was an utter failure, I didn't see anything regarding the trap. I thought maybe there's a chance I could try looking for it again and get a leg up on the beast this way. Well, unfortunately, that was also a dead end. I managed to sneak into the previously inaccessible area, but couldn't find anything resembling a trap. I searched everywhere, found other interesting items, but no dice on the Kayran's Bane. Referencing my journal, there is a log about how clumsy Geralt was and that he initially got caught while looking for it. I guess maybe that's the soft cue that the moment's passed. Looking it up after the fact, I learned that the trap was a metal frame and that Cedric the Elf apparently sells them too. It makes me feel a little better knowing that this wasn't a one-off, totally unique tool, but still I should have done better. In any case, abandoning my search, my next order of business took me to the merchants on the waterfront. A witcher doesn't slay monsters out of the kindness of his heart, and Geralt needs to make sure that he's getting paid.
What do you want?
Heard you have a problem.
Ah, if only we had just one. Highways washed out, forests full of bandits, a river beast blocks the port, and tolls at a rise.
Can't help with the tolls, but the monster's a possibility.
A sorceress said the same, but we've yet to see any results.
She's asked me to work with her.
And who's to pay your wage?
That's what I'm here to discuss.
The sorceress was to manage alone. You can split that reward if you wish.
Well, we're managing it together now, so as I see it, you should double the reward.
You jest!
You'll double what you offered Lady de Tanzerville, because that's what the contract's worth.
So be it. I assume you to be professionals and worth every last copper paid to you.
It's a deal. Now tell me what you know about the beast.
You're the Witcher, damn it! I've no knowledge of these things.
Who could tell me more?
That ploughing elf, Cedric, most probably. He's supposed to know all about monsters. Now leave me be.
So, technically, a matter of price was supposed to lead Geralt to Cedric, and I'd assume that's when the elf directs the Witcher to the wreck. Everything's pretty much come full circle. Of course, I could have still approached Cedric and asked about the Osmerk. Plus, there's also the metal frame that I could have purchased, but really, I was just too eager to take on the Kayran. Call it bravery and skill or overconfidence and arrogance, but I was ready to get the show on the road here. My second last stop for this hunt involved heading to Sheila's room at the tavern. It was time to give the sorceress the go-ahead.
Witcher, I've been awaiting you.
We need to kill a monster that sinks boats.
Afraid?
No, but I suspect we'll need to draw it onto the shore.
Leave that to me.
I can't wait. I bet it's something spectacular.
Believe it. You'll do the honors.
The honors?
Once on the riverbank, you'll kill him, her, whatever it is.
What's that? It looks impressive.
A megascope.
What does it do?
Many complicated magical operations. It allows me to communicate with other sorceresses, for instance.
I never expected to see you at Loredo's.
Whereas I was sure you would show up there. The Commandant is terribly jealous about his small trading post. Anyone of import is summoned to hear him out sooner rather than later.
What did he want from you?
That is my concern, certainly none of yours. We're not a tandem, Geralt. We'll kill the Kayran together, but that is all.
I've got everything I need. Let's go.
Excellent. Ready?
Are you wearing makeup?
We all have our rituals.
From what I know, Kayrans are colorblind.
Enough, Geralt. Time to draw the beast out of the water.
Got an ace up your sleeve?
I always do. Don't get eaten, and we'll soon both be heroes.
I hope you're right.
Arriving at the battle site, we're back at the Kayrans' lair. Sheila goes over the plan again with Geralt. She's going to use magic to draw it out of the water. As soon as the monster makes landfall, it's my time to shine. Presumably, Sheila will continue to use some of her magic while I'm face to face with a literal kraken. I guess we'll find out once the fight begins. Popping some potions and applying runes to my sword, I began my descent into the swamps. Reaching the lower shelf, the sorceress started to lure in the beast. The Kayran is absolutely massive. This thing was so much bigger than I thought it'd be. Cedric was right. The folks in Flotsam should have killed this monster a long time ago. I would say, who knows if the combined might of a Witcher and Sorceress can even do it, but that's exactly why this is an event in the story. Honestly, the battle with the Kayran humbled me. I died quite a few times here. The fight itself wasn't even that tricky. It was phase-based, meaning I couldn't just outright attack it. I needed to perform a few other actions first. The issue was that it took some trial and error for me to learn what I needed to do. I'd die a few times, unlock a piece of the puzzle, advance forward, die a few more times, and the process would repeat. Basically, through the help of Sheila yelling at Geralt, I learned that I had to begin the fight by casting Yrden. The Kayran had 6 tentacles, and 4 of them contained these strange growths. Those growths were its weak spots, and the only way I could hack away at them is if they were trapped in my Yrden cast. Attacking one of the designated tentacles, Geralt would end up cutting it off. This is how I'd bring down the monster's health, and it'd severely weaken it. However, its remaining tentacles were able to pick up the slack, and one hit from the Kayran would drop my health by almost half. Furthermore, the Kayran had the ability to spray toxins from its mouth. My guess is that's where the Osmerk would have come in handy. Although, the swallow that I popped right before the fight was able to counteract the poison, so that ended up working out well for me. The final phase of the matchup was Geralt hanging onto one of its tentacles while the Kayran tries to throw him across the swamp. The commotion causes the rest of the bridge to fall on top of the monster and ends up trapping it. My first time reaching this part, I had no clue what to do and ended up dying from electricity that I think was brought on by Sheila, so thanks for that one. However, my second time reaching this stage, I took a different approach. I scaled the downed bridge, charged the Kayran from the higher ground, and then launched my final assault.
We did it. Not a bad fight, wouldn't you say, Geralt? Are you all right?
I'm fine.
I've used up much of my energy, so if you needed help...
I've learned to help myself. A sorceress worried about me. Should I be scared?
Playing it tough, like every Witcher.
I had no idea it'd be so big.
Triss was right. It's mutated. Magically induced. I must get to work, collect the most valuable ingredients. What a shame so much will go to waste. Forgive me. Time is of the essence.
Farewell, then.
Don't forget to collect the reward.
Oh, I won't.
and that ends up solving Flotsam's Karen problem. Looting the beasts, I received a whole care package of interesting ingredients, samples, and even a trophy. With the river monster dead, the ports can reopen and trade can resume in the small village. Furthermore, with my end of the bargain complete, I can collect Geralt's reward, use Laredo to get to Yorvith, and confront Foltest's assassin through the Scoia'tael. While it all sounds straightforward, something tells me that like most quests in this game, I should expect at least some roadblocks, detours, and even betrayals. We'll just have to see what surprises The Witcher 2 throws my way.